Hello, so this video now is for the juniors on Unit 3. You're not going to be doing Unit 2. The first quiz of Unit 3, which is 3.1.4 on fractured identities. That's this unit. And in this video, we're going to be talking about identity. The whole unit is on identity. So your identity is what makes you you. But that's really hard to define because we're all a mix of so many things. Where we come from, where we live, our beliefs, all sorts of stuff. Prejudice, as you probably already know, is when someone thinks that something about you, say your race, is more important than anything else, and who you are inside and all of that. So you're going to be reading some things, and I believe for this quiz you'll be watching a video about the Vietnam War. And as you're experiencing whatever it is, whether you're reading or watching something, think about what you're viewing or what you're reading as you're reading it. And this will help you focus your attention, improve your understanding, and help you find key ideas. When you're reading something, before you even begin, it helps to kind of think about what you're about to get into. What does the title tell you about a story, for example? Whether that story is written or if it's something that you view. What is the topic of what you're experiencing? What do you know about it so far? What is the genre? Is it historical? Is it an autobiography? What's the genre? And the context of the story can also be very important. What can you find out about the author? What was the author's purpose of creating this piece? What do you know about the time period in which this work happened? And as you think about questions as you read, you can have things clarified to you. Like if you start to read, or even before you start to read, if you kind of have some questions in your mind about what you expect to find out, then you can, as you're reading or viewing, you can find those things out and have things clarified for you. And it helps to, if there's a possibility of confusion, if you're kind of thinking about what you're viewing as you're going forward, then that confusion can be minimized. So anyway, about the Vietnam War, it was the first time that a war was, like the sites of war, the violence of what was going on was readily available on TV. There was a lot of pushback to the war. A lot of people didn't support it. And soldiers, when they came back, unfortunately, were treated unfairly by a lot of people because they thought that the soldiers had done things that they shouldn't have done. And so many soldiers had PTSD, which at the time they really didn't understand. And so a lot of times soldiers didn't get the help that they needed for it. There's a type of therapy that anybody really can have with dealing with any type of trauma, and that's called scriptotherapy, which is where you use writing to cope with trauma, and a lot of soldiers were able to use that. And then after that, so starting in 1968, that was when we have a new form of a new art form called Post Modernism. And that broke from traditional constructs. It was where writers and artists started kind of going against traditional rules. They started making stories and different things in different ways. One of my favorite types of stories when I was younger were choose your own adventure books, and that is a type of writing that came from the postmodernism way of thinking. Part of postmodernism is metafiction, which is where the story is refers to itself and reflects on itself. It's almost kind of thinking as it goes along, the way that the author writes it. And you've probably heard of Sherman Alexie before. He is a postmodernist writer. So there's Sherman Alexie and also Amy Tan and Sandra Cisneros and Maya Angelou. They're all postmodernist writers. And so anyway, hopefully that information will help you with your first quiz, which is 3.1.4 for the juniors.